Hello from Vancouver Island. My name is Germana Robinelli. What I'm going to offer you today is how to understand and reprogram your subconscious mind to get your needs met in any of the 7 areas of life. So if you have areas in your life that are not, a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10, the root cause is the subconscious programming. And I'm just going to read off the 7 basic areas, and you might just give yourself a mini rating out of 0 to 10. 0 is like, I'm really not doing well. 10 is, I'm hitting it out of the park. We're going to go through this, and I'm going to help you have some tools to reprogram how you show up in those areas so you can actually live your best life and you're not at the mercy of your hypnotic programming. We've all been programmed from conception till about 8 years old. And most of us, that's the part of us that's making decisions in our life, trying to help us get our needs met. And I'm helping people break out of that box so they can actually have more agency, more autonomy, more personal power. That is what's helped me. And I did not come from privileged background at all. I was raised by people that were very, very, very damaged, and they hurt me badly. And that's what drew me to wanting to fix or help myself heal, because talk therapy was very limiting. It gave me information, but it created what I call as a well-educated neurotic. I still had all of the nervous tics. I still had the anxieties. I still had the irrational behavior. I still did not know how to feel safe in my own skin. And I know that I'm not alone. So I'm going to read the 7 main areas of our life. That's family. How is your quality of life in your family life? That could be, personal relationships. That could be even just how you feel about yourself. Most people that have been hurt, that's where they've been hurt, is in their family. That's where I was hurt. So in order to be healthy, I had to basically divorce myself from my biological family and find out who I am, and what my needs are. Then there's a spiritual area. To me, this is a very, very powerful area. Our spirit is the part of us that never dies, and some people think that's kind of voodoo-ish. When people do trance work, meditation work, hypnotic work, once you go deeper, you actually discover that you are much more than your physical body. Your body is what I call as a meat suit. It's your vehicle that you get to live in and work in and do things with. The spirit part of us inhabits the body, and it's the part of us that carries on. So when you intuitively know something, you're like, how did you know that? That is your spirit or your intuition or your higher self. But your spirit is what actually gives you true power in this lifetime. The rest of it is window dressing and ego. Ego is dangerous. It's what causes us to spend money we shouldn't spend, hurt ourselves, judge ourselves, attack other people. The acronym for ego is edging God out, and God is love. And when you start to do the deeper work, you may come to the realization that that being of love is actually part of who and what you are. The worst of it is most people don't believe that. So learning to have a spiritual practice is one of the best ways to anchor yourself so that the world that we live in doesn't take you off of your beam. We're not meant here to suffer. This is not an endurance contest in how much suffering you can endure and not, snap. Our spirituality is the way out, and most people go towards spiritual work because of pain. And that's what drew me to it. I was like, I had nowhere to go, and I didn't have people that I felt safe with. So I got into spirituality because I needed a place to feel like I mattered. And so that's one of the basic areas. So rate yourself 0 to 10. 10 is I'm great, 0 not great. Somewhere in the middle, I need some work. I could benefit by having some more connection there. The mental area of our life is whether we let ourselves learn, whether we grow mentally and emotionally. I love learning, and I've also recognized the mental area is not about being a PhD. It's about being able to have conversations. It's about reading. It's about exploring and expanding your knowledge base. For me, the mental and intellectual area is how I allow myself to be vulnerable and to grow, and also notice where I have learning disabilities, which I do, and also to be willing to learn. Learning is good. They say you start dying when you stop learning. So learning is one of the ways that we can feed ourselves. For many people, it's a basic need. The emotional area is connected to the mental area, that is also part of the spiritual area. So emotional, how do we attune to our body? Do we notice when we're afraid? Do we notice when we're hungry? Do we notice when we're tired? Do we notice when we have a desire that maybe we're afraid to go after? So emotional health is also linked to mental health. Do we tell ourselves the truth? Are we living in a self-imprisonment of fears and lies? Because whatever we tell ourselves, we create an emotion, thought, emotion, feeling, behavior. And if we're in, behaviors that are not good, you want to go, what am I telling myself? And that emotion will help you go back. And if emotionally we're regulated, we're typically stronger, we're healthier. We usually have at least a 75% stronger immune system, which is quite a significant thing to have. When people have autoimmune, and I have autoimmune, they're constantly self-criticizing, self-attacking, and that's a subconscious behavior. So you want to understand, if I'm doing this subconsciously, how do I heal this? How do I make it better? It's very important. And the physical. So physical for me is the physical body. I call it the meat suit. So that will include things like sleeping, getting enough sleep. That will include things like being in a safe home. That will include things like resting, napping, meditating, having cozy, comfortable moments. Most of us want comfort, but most of us will chase comfort in different ways. A lot of us will chase connection by doing things that we may later regret. But the physical area of life for me is food, water, a roof over my head, a body that's been taken care of, kind words to the body, kind words to self, treating this body and the person that's in this body as if I matter. And again, that is a learned behavior. If we're taught that our needs don't matter, which does happen, then we don't look after our body. So physical is a big deal because that's what you're going to live in until you're dead. Our career, how do you like your career? Are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Are you making a reasonable income? Do you feel that your contribution matters? Does it fill you or does it take from you? And that's also about balance. And then the financial part. For many people, finances is where you'll see the family generational trauma linked over. If they were raised by people that had a lot of poverty, then usually the offspring just believes that's the way the world is, and that is a limiting belief that the subconscious mind has programmed in. So with this video and a few of the videos that come behind it, I'm going to give you some tools to question and challenge. What is it that you believe about these areas? Do you have a fear around any of these areas? And how to populate what is the limiting belief? Because if you can reprogram that limiting belief, then you are going to get some ground back. You are going to actually have the ability to be the orchestrator of your life, not the person that's locked in the trunk of the car going, why does my life not work? Why am I suffering? Why do I have headaches? Why do I have arthritis? Why do I have, all of these other areas? And they're usually indicators of how we have abandoned our relationship with self. And if we've had trauma, we normalize that. And that's the subconscious having a comfort zone. This is just how I look after you. This is the elephant with the hook on its leg at the circus that everyone gets to look at. We're the elephant if we don't retrain that elephant and break ourselves free. And you can break the elephant free by doing conscious mind hacks, but you need to understand what you need to do to that part of you to have some choices and some dignity and some hope and to improve your health. So if you were to pick one of these, areas, whether it's, relationship or family, for me, that was the biggest one: spiritual, mental health, physical health, emotional health, career health, or financial health. I would ask you to pick one of those areas. And in a moment, I want you to, if you're comfortable, get a piece of paper and write down one minor goal in one sentence for one of these areas. that will support your life as a gentle major goal. One simple strategy to achieve, let's say it's a physical health goal. What is one thing that you would like to improve? Would it be to have more energy? Would it be to lose 5 pounds? Would it be to have a pain-free body? And then what would your strategy be for that? So if you look at the strategy would be stated in positive. Say it's a physical goal. I want to have more energy. What would be the strategy? One of them could be having a nap every day if you want a nap. One of them could be making sure you drink 8 or 10 glasses of water a day. One of them could be increasing your protein, 30 grams per meal. Having at least 3 to 4 meals of protein a day will do a lot for your health. And protein means it came from something that had a pulse. Another thing is maybe going for a walk. Another thing would be doing some core training at home, or going to a gym, or hiring a trainer. So those are a basket of things that a person could do to improve their physical health. Now, here is a way to determine what is your fear. What is your yeah, but in resistance if you have a physical goal and your yeah, but around it? What do you tell yourself? That you don't have time, that you're too old? What do you tell yourself that stops you from bringing balance or harmony into, say, the physical area of your life? Then you will know what one of your core limiting beliefs are. So a lot of people just say, I don't have time, I'm too old, blah, blah, blah. And if you were to say, is this true? 100%, and you actually look for evidence that this is true, you'll discover that it's not true, and it's a subconscious belief that it doesn't matter, or that you don't matter, or that it's too late. And that's the hook on the elephant's foot. So if you were then to change that and you were to create a reprogramming script, here's an example. I matter in the physical area of my life today, and you write that in the morning. Put your name, I matter in the physical area of my life, and then you start to go through your day and you add 2 or 3 things that you will do that day with emotion that allows you to feel, geez, I actually do matter. I made my bed. Oh, I brushed and flossed my teeth. Yeah, that means I matter to me. I bought some really good food. I went for a walk. I matter. And you did your whole day, and then at the end of the day, here's my journal. At the end of the day, you open up that journal and you write down all the areas of your life that you mattered physically, and you wrote them down with emotion. Repetition and emotion and visualization is what programs the subconscious mind. And you do that every day for 21 days. I will guarantee you, if you started with a 2 or 3 in the physical area, you would be at 8 or 9 in the physical area in 21 days. And that's one example of reprogramming your subconscious mind. The thing is, it's never too late. There's still time. And if I could say anything to anyone, you do matter. Your life matters. Your health matters. Without your health, you're screwed. I remember years ago, I was hired by this bunch of very rich investors, and they brought me in, and I was the coach person, and most of them were super overweight. It's scary, like giantly overweight. And they were very braggy about how much money they had, and they managed, and they were international and all of that. And I looked at them and I said, with all due respect, who do you think you're working for? And they're like, I got the boat, I got the helicopter, I got the yacht, I got the wife, I got the house. I said, just take a look. I said, most of you have a belly that is so huge that you look like you need a shopping cart to pack it around. Your health is on the line. And I said, you know who you're really working for? And they looked at me. I said, the pool boy. I said, because the way that you're neglecting your physical body, you're going to have a stroke, you're going to have a diabetic issue, you're going to die early, your knees are going to blow out, your back is going to blow out, you're not going to be much fun to live with. And after you pass away, your wife will grieve and she will get over you. And the pool boy will come and look after the pool, and he will end up with your wife and the pool and the yacht and the helicopter and the money. So you're really working for the pool boy because you're not considering the most important asset you have, your physical body. Well, they weren't happy with me, but I'll tell you, about 30% of that room hired a personal trainer. And I just said, play the movie out. Like, if you have any real intelligence, you go, what does this give me? Your body needs to work. And some people think it's just something that you drag around and treat like a dumpster, and it's not. It's the most important asset you'll ever have. So this is one of 3 for this week, and it's going to be about reprogramming in all of the areas of our life. And I hope that you like this video. I hope that you share it. I hope that you subscribe. I'm planning to do regular ones for a while. And my son taught me how to do the videos this way, so they'll be more professional. I do appreciate your patience with me. I am learning. And that's me taking risks in the mental and intellectual area, because I'll tell you, I'm terrified of making a mistake. And the deal is we all do. And that's how we learn. Signing out from Nanaimo.